So go.
No worries.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining our live stream, and I hope you enjoyed the last episode that we just made. I am Side Nick. I still have a shirt that says that says as much. That's weird without a mirror. And over here I have Brendan.
Hey everyone. That was a lot of fun. I hadn't seen the episode all put together, so I'd seen most of it. But it was fun to see the whole thing with the
Yeah,
ending and everything.
yeah. Oh yes. Andrew says I want the shirt. Um,
I have an old shirt. You probably could have.
yeah. This definitely needs a wash.
This is my brand new one. I haven't worn this one before.
Oh.
But yeah, I've got the old one though. So if we could somehow get that out to Andrew, I think he's earned it at this point. He can have the
Yeah,
old
I mean
new shirt.
he's definitely in the top three of our fans. So
It does smell like super meat. You might like please don't steal my DNA or whatever, but I'm sure we could if we can work out some way to get it out to you, I'm sure we can do that.
well, I mean, if we ended up getting a Brendan clone at the end of all of this, that would be something of a result. It's like evil super me, super him, just super that. I don't know. Uh, I was
Super them.
thinking might take this opportunity to talk a little bit about how this all came to be in the first place. Because yeah, it was a bit of a strange thing to just suddenly start doing, wasn't it?
Uh yeah. I mean uh I don't know. It's one of those things that I don't even really 100% understand how it happened. We were just not doing it one time, and then all of a sudden we were doing it. Um, I also have a young ghost going to bed in the background, so if people hear screams and weird noises in the background, he's fine. He's just being a ghost.
That's that's absolutely fine. I mean, I must say it's very impressive how you can talk without moving your lips. I don't think my computer is fast enough to have you moving in the
Yeah,
frame and and talking at the same time.
I'm seeing in the comments that I'm not moving, but I can't actually see the video, so I'll just take everyone's word for it that it's a very flattering picture of me,
Yeah, yeah,
and
you look great.
we'll go from there. Maybe we can edit this and put like a really handsome photo of me when we upload it.
Yeah, I'll run a filter over it. I'm sure that'll be fine. What else am I going to talk about? Yeah, because one of the things I was thinking of doing was for this was just holding Paige up in our Facebook chat until we actually found the start of it, because that would probably shed more light on the whole creative process than what we can recollect.
I do sort of remember that we were talking about doing a fan film about Hawkeye. And I don't know if that came before or kind of at the same time as Super Me. Then um and then that somehow I think merged into in at some point the fan film got forgotten about and Hawk and Super Me became the priority, I suppose.
We just became so much more interested in ourselves. That sort of tracks.
Yeah. It seemed a lot easier. In the long run, probably it would have been much easier to do the Hawkeye thing, but but it
Oh
was
yeah, I forgot
yeah.
about that. Yeah, because there was like we were going to do the whole story from the dog's perspective, where everyone's just talking.
Yeah, I was really excited to build the dog. That was, I remember the part of it that most
That's right. We were
excited
going
me.
to like make a snout and
Like
something and hold
Muppet.
it off the camera. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
well that'll probably be the thing after the next project that we're working on, which we'll get to in a minute.
yeah. And I guess the other thing that people might find interesting is kind of, I guess, why we didn't continue to make more episodes. I think the special episode kind of gave a lot of that away, but obviously we kind of ended with even after that special with the idea that we were going to do more, but it became a very difficult thing to do.
Hmm.
Part of on top of me being unwell and all of the stuff that came along with that,
Hmm.
I had to get a new job and all kinds of things, and that made making the show a lot more difficult. And actually, until pretty recently, I haven't personally had a lot of time to work on anything creative like Super Me.
Yeah, of course.
Uh,
Yeah.
it's really been unfortunately we just didn't have the time and we didn't have the um for a period of time I didn't have the ability to
Hmm.
do it either. Uh, um But it's been really cool working with Nick again recently, both on finishing off this episode, because this episode was a long time coming. We
Yeah.
worked on it. We started filming it ages ago, and then we
Well, we filmed
refilmed
it.
a lot of it.
We filmed it, and there were a few reasons why we had to reshoot a fair bit of it. And the other thing that more or less happened along the way was, yeah, I got busy as well. I had a new job. I also got diagnosed with ADHD, which sort of explains a lot of the reason why nothing happened for a long time with it. And yeah, this one was sort of like a just under my skin for so long, and eventually I just had this deadline kind of thrust upon me to go, well, you know what, I'm not going to have Adobe Creative Cloud for much longer, and I should probably finish this project that's filling up my hard drive before too long. But there's like versions of this that have like Amy from like 2017, so like 5 years ago,
Yeah,
so she was
well,
about four.
that's the other thing. You've now got 3 kids. You had
Yeah,
1 kid when we started,
yeah, and then
and
it was almost a second kid by the time we were finishing. So yeah, that's a big adjustment. So
and I've got a son now as well. So a lot did happen. And again, these are many of the things that took away from our ability to work on some of this stuff
mm,
as well. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of excuses. We brought out another episode.
mm,
Where unfortunately this doesn't mean lots of new Super Me coming soon, as we said at the end of that video. Right now, Super Me I think is on a break.
we're going to
I'd
sit
love
on
to
the
do more.
IP until it becomes valuable, and then probably pass the torch on to the next generation. It'll probably be Amy or something,
Yeah,
Super Amy.
yeah.
So
I'm very keen to do more of it at some point in some capacity, and we even have. It hasn't amounted to anything yet, but there's always we have had some interesting conversations with other people about this project as well. Like there has been some interest in it, so
mhm.
it's not going anywhere. It's just not it's not going to be super active for a little while at least. And partially that's also because we've got a new project that we're both kind of um working on at
Teasing.
the moment as well.
Yeah,
Yes, the hot new Brennan and Nick project.
not a baby.
That if we achieved that, we could definitely sell that documentary, I think. But
Yeah.
no, do we want to talk about what we're doing next? I know we've
I think we can, but I do really first before we do that, I do want to sort of acknowledge just the contribution of Theron Booth in particular
awesome.
to the
Yeah.
overall show. Just his music elevated the production just so much. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think I could sing his praises well enough, mainly because my
Oh,
voice sucks, as you can all hear in episode 5.
well,
So,
not just Theron's music that he composed for us. He also wrote the Super Me song that I sang in that episode, and
mm,
I think
yeah, the music for
acknowledging
it. I think a friend of mine wrote the poem. Thomas Gregory wrote the lyrics, I think,
okay,
if I
yeah,
recall correctly. But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
but
and then Paul Slater also helping us with all the recording of that. So
most
it was
certainly, yes.
definitely a
Yeah,
big
technical
group
whiz.
project. Yes. And then I guess all the other people that helped us out. So obviously we saw
Lucas Parry, yes,
Cosplay
Doctor
and
Lucas Parry,
Jake.
and
Yeah. Yes, yep. Lucas Parry for sure. And that was really cool to go back to that earlier episode. I hadn't watched that in so long. I had so much fun recording with Lucas. It was such a fun day.
mm,
Um, my brother helping us out with quite a lot of, especially those later episodes.
hmm
Um, the guys from TCW Wrestling and the guys from the Lightsaber Academy as well.
yeah,
Um,
like all of it just elevates it beyond just this silly little YouTube show that we made. Like I understand, like we never really broke into the big time, but I'm very proud of what we've got up on this channel.
yeah,
It's really quite
I
nice to
hadn't
see.
watched it since we in quite a while, and
Mm.
part of that was me getting sick. Kind of killed a lot of my. It just made me feel. I was just felt funny about it. I don't know how to
Yeah,
explain it
I
better
can
than that.
understand that. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I did the special, and that was really hard work to
Mm.
put that together. It wasn't the funnest experience,
Mm.
and really, I didn't watch them again after that. Like, and even this new episode was largely, and I think this is where we need to give the credit to Nick, largely a Nick project. Like,
Yeah.
I turned up and I did my bits, but really Nick was the one that got that episode together. So that was really cool. And so this last week of re-premiering all the episodes has been really cool because it was nice to go back to them with a kind of new, fresh eyes. I
Mm.
suppose maybe is the best way to say it. Like some of those early episodes, I spent so long editing them. I got better at it as we went, but like editing isn't my passion or area of expertise. It's something I do to get a project done,
Yeah.
and I spent a lot of time on those. And the parts of it that for me, after I'd finished, I was like, I don't know if this still works. But when I watched them with fresh, I was like, this is actually pretty decent. Like this is good. Like we didn't the stuff we put together. I was already proud of it, but I
Yeah.
think watching it now, was a lot more proud of what we did, and it's nice to see how well it held up. In my opinion, I mean,
Mm.
I'm a little biased, but I think it held up quite well, and I've had a lot of fun revisiting, putting Sumi in the drawer for a little while.
Did my computer just freeze? I think it froze.
So who knows? Who knows where things go?
I think my computer just froze, so I'm a bit concerned that the stream might have lost that last little bit, but seems to
Oh,
be
okay,
working again. I mean, you're moving at about one frame a minute, so you
okay.
can
So it is
probably all
occasionally
understand
moving.
the strain that this particular computer is under. This is the very computer I used to edit that episode, so that's probably another reason why it took so long.
Yeah, yeah. The whole show was put together with like just working it out as we went. Like, and again, editing is not my area of expertise. I learned, and the effects of this show are relatively basic. I'll admit that.
Mm.
But there's some cool stuff in there. There's one specific effect that I think is invisible and people don't know it's there. And that's totally me just realizing we had a problem and I had to fix it. And and teaching myself how to do it. I feel like a lot of this show was that.
Was that the
Um,
hands in front of the camera when I was
it
doing the
was.
super me? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
recognize it because it's not my hands.
yeah. uh, the really specific thing that was missing from just the take that I needed to use,
Mm.
and so I had to do some creative visual effects and got these hands to pop up. I'm sure most people don't notice because it's not flashy or interesting, especially, but it looks so much better as a result of having them there.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah,
yeah, that's the whole show. The whole show was that. It was just like, how do we do this thing? I don't know. Let's work it
yeah.
out.
And I mean, I learned a bit in doing this episode as well. Like you probably saw there was a very short bit of like full on CGI flying down
Yes,
the
I was very impressed,
Oh, thank
especially
you.
when it gets
Yeah,
to
that
the fine
I
under the bridge fine.
Yeah, well, I mean, I that was kind of the shot I always wanted the show to open
Yeah,
with, and one of the things that kind of like amazed me in our hiatus is that almost every landmark that I featured in that opening sequence got revamped. Like
yeah,
the mall has gotten dug up, and there's like all new bits and pieces. Like even that drone shot of flying backwards and stuff showing it all was that's all old. Like I haven't flown it since since they've revamped it, and the silos as well. Like that's now
yes.
quite a classy hotel and an area of parkland and stuff. So it's like,
It
yeah,
was very much
Launceston's a lot
Launceston
prettier than
classic.
when we started. So I'm gonna credit us for that.
Yeah, yeah. It is funny though because it's like every single thing that we used. Um,
Yeah, well,
yeah,
even the
I'm
sign on the
really proud of.
underpass, like welcome to Launceston. It said in the like I forget what the new one
Yes,
is, but I had to take I had to take a photo as Tracy was driving underneath it, and then basically from that photo try and zoom into it and stretch it out, so I actually had the texture to put in the CGI. So yeah,
and I,
it was a bit of a
to be honest,
project
I
that.
think it was above and beyond because I don't know how like I don't think it was necessary, but it was really cool.
Oh yeah, it was a fair bit of
I
work.
really liked it because watching the old intro as well. Like I remember thinking it was too long, but watching it back now, I was kind of like, oh yeah, no, I quite like this. But certainly the new one was much flashier than how it
Yeah,
originally
yeah.
was.
Well, I mean, I did shorten the song, which I feel a bit bad about because Emergency Poncho they really brought it for again, like a silly little YouTube show.
Yes.
And
And
they,
another person that we
yeah,
need to thank, right?
yeah, most certainly. Oh, we didn't. Oh, whoops. Yeah, thank you,
Well,
Emergency
I think
Poncho.
we're going. We're still in the process of that. We hadn't forgotten them.
Yeah, well, that's it.
But I think also Emergency Poncho for the work they did on the song, but also Jared from Emergency Poncho let us use his shed and some of his equipment at one point to record an early version of the Super Me song.
Mhm.
Dan was always so Dan Taylor, who is in Emergency Poncho and was working at the radio down here. I think he's in Hobart now.
Mhm.
Very, very much a supporter of ours. Had us on the radio multiple times. So like those guys really helped us out a lot.
Uh-oh, I think I've frozen again.
Worked on it even in like a small way.
You might have to go back and say some of that again,
Sorry, are we
Brendan.
frozen?
You might have to go back and say some of that again. I think the video
Oh,
froze again. Sorry.
okay. I'm not sure where from because I can't see anything. So,
Sorry.
um,
About
uh,
10 or 15 seconds ago.
yeah. I mean, I think I was just saying that everyone that sort of has helped out with this was anyone, whether it was big or small, that worked on the project were very instrumental to it coming
Mm.
together. And without any one of those people, it wouldn't probably have come together. So,
Mm.
yeah.
And this is one of the things I always found funny about it. Like we make a joke of it of turning however old we were, like 31 or 32. I'm 35 now, so yeah, that's that's a surprise.
Yeah, I think I turned 33 because I'm a couple of years ahead.
Yeah, but like the thing I found really funny was like if we had tried to do this project in our 20s, so much of it just wouldn't have happened. Like one of the reasons
Yeah,
we actually thought it possible at the time was we could film 1080p on our phones. Like
yeah.
that was just unheard of when we were in TAFE doing film. Like the drawing I've got behind us there is me holding this little camcorder because I drew it that way because it just didn't seem realistic to be holding a phone
Yeah.
as the thing. But that's obviously ludicrous
Well,
now to
even in those early days of filming, because that was still pretty new,
mm,
like that people were regularly using their phones. Because I remember some people didn't, like some people thought it was really cool, then
mm.
other people looked at it like, what the
Yeah, well, that was the other thing. I had this like
heck?
long
Like, you're
metal
just going to film it on
apparatus. I had this long metal
your phone?
apparatus
So,
as a Steadicam thing. It was basically a long like piece of plumbing and a weight at the bottom, and that just kind of made the whole thing less, this. We upgraded. That was like one of the first things we upgraded because you bought an Osmo, which is like having a chicken's head on a stick, really. So everything kind of just balances as much as you're waving your hand around.
and
Um,
that I remember that early one constantly. It was really cool, but we needed to repair it a lot. Like, and, just a lot. But that was everything that we were doing. We were constantly trying to work out how to
mm,
fix things and get them to work
yeah.
properly. Um, and like that's why I'm surprised that a lot of it looks as good as it does and comes together as well as it does. Because really, we were learning, and if nothing else, I learned so much from making the show
Mm,
that that I've applied to other things that I've done going forward,
yeah.
and I'm sure have made a big difference to, especially this next project that we're starting to work on.
Yes. And you
That
keep
that we've
segueing
learned.
into that, and I we are getting to it. I promise.
I know I want to allude to it a little bit, but no, I think that even things like us working together and our shorthand and all of those kinds of things. It wouldn't have happened probably without Super Me. And it's interesting too because that's part of the reason why one we couldn't have done Super Me in our 20s, but also it's really hard to do Super Me now.
Yeah.
As you kind of saw at the end of that, like that, there was a couple of things in that that really put my body to the test. Part of knowing now that I was quite sick and things when we were filming that fitness thing makes me feel a lot better about that. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't just that I
Well,
was
I mean,
slack.
like I said, I was kind of surprised at just how hard it hit you.
Yeah,
I mean, I was achy and in pain as
yeah.
well, but it wasn't necessarily like next level. Yeah. So it didn't. It
No, well,
at the
that
time I
bruise that
remember
you
it didn't
see,
really set up a red flag or anything that you might be unwell with something far more severe. But yeah,
and
I
we
was
didn't find out
worried
right
for you.
away either. So we probably
Mm,
we were we weren't exaggerating in that episode, but we were dramatizing it fully expecting to come back and do more episodes.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
it was
and
never
that
the expectation that was going to happen.
yeah, well, that kind of like not quite final numbered episode like that. We did have the
Yes.
whole obstacle course, and we were going to do a beach challenge day and all of that. But yeah, we just had to sort of drop the dramatics of it a little bit and basically just you know talk it out because
Yeah.
yeah, I mean aside from everything else, yeah, like and I said it in the thing, like eating boiled chicken and broccoli every day for dinner it was depressing, and my mood was just so
Yeah.
I was
That
not in
kind
a
of thing's
place where
a
I
lot
was
harder
actually
on you.
wanting to do it. So
Because the food side of things I was mostly okay with.
mm,
It was I mean, it wasn't enjoyable by any
mm,
means, but it was the and even the physical stuff. Like it was hard work, but it was just the. I remember like I did all the stuff that we'd been meant to do for a couple of like for that first day and then at night. And I remember getting up like super early in the morning, and you see it in that episode.
yeah,
And I just got outside, and I mean, it's quite dark; it's hard to see it. I literally, my leg just
gave
something
out. Yeah,
happened and it stopped working. And then, and again, that got back home and all of a sudden had this huge bruise down my leg, despite the fact that I hadn't actually hit it on anything, if that makes sense.
yeah.
But I had this huge
Was
bruise,
that the
which
actual spot where they did where they had to do like a biopsy and then they go, okay, this is what it is, or was it
yeah,
elsewhere?
so exactly what the bruise was, I'm a little unsure, but it was in the exact spot that I eventually ended up having cancer. So
Mm,
that was the reason that we found it really.
mm,
Like so essentially I mean, I might talk about this. I feel a lot more comfortable talking about this, and I actually know a lot more about this than when I did the documentary. I was still learning a lot about all of what I was had going on
yeah,
when I made that special. But
mm,
basically, I had melanoma, and so with melanoma, as most of us are aware, we live in Australia. Melanoma quite common,
yeah.
unfortunately. But usually, it's a skin cancer, right? So you get this mole, and if you don't do the right thing around that mole, it gets nasty, and it keeps getting nastier if you leave it there, and then eventually it spreads to other areas. And the first kind of really problematic area that it spreads to is your lymph nodes,
Yep.
and then from there it can get anywhere in your body.
Mm,
What was weird for me, and still a little bit unexplained to this day, and so I still I actually had checks just this past week. I'm still getting checked for this stuff relatively regularly. Um, I never had a mole, so that initial mole that melanoma comes from, I never had that, and so, or we never found it anyway. And we still haven't found it, so we don't know.
it's like the
And
phantom mole.
that's
That the phantom mole does sound like something that we would have done battle with.
yeah, so that's very unusual. That's not
Yeah.
something that normally happens with melanoma, and I think one of the ideas behind it, but it's not ever been sort of proven, is that sometimes like our body can heal moles and they can disappear, and
Hmm.
perhaps at some point I did have a cancerous mole and my body kind
You
of got
just
rid of it, but
you
it
just
didn't get rid of.
regenerated like Wolverine.
Yeah, it did. Unfortunately, it did get rid of the other bit, so it's probably more
Mm.
like Deadpool. But,
Yeah, that's
but so
not the
basically,
yeah.
what happened is that this cancer just showed up in my lymph nodes,
Mm,
and I would likely not have known about it because it wasn't very noticeable.
mm,
Um, I think knowing a few things now, there were some signs, but I didn't know that. My doctors didn't know that at the time.
mm,
Um, and what happened is basically I felt what felt like I'd been to physio around that leg stuff, and mostly I was doing all right. But this muscle was feeling really weird in my leg, and so I
mm.
felt like this muscle was really hard.
Yep.
And so I went to the doctor to get checked out. He said, actually, it's not the muscle; it's your lymph nodes.
Oh,
But even that's not really a red flag because if you have an infection or
because
something
yeah, they
like
yeah.
that can do the same thing. So after like a few weeks of tests, all of a sudden we did this biopsy, and it came back that I had melanoma. So which is like so they call it stage 3. So
Mm,
stage 4 is the worst,
yeah.
and stage 3 is where it basically stage 3 is basically where it hasn't quite spread yet and is able to be treated, I suppose, without it being like a forever problem,
Yeah. Yeah.
I suppose.
Yeah.
And so basically they just carved it out of me, that's led to like I'm here, which is really good.
Yeah.
But I also struggle with things like lymphedema now. So one of my legs is significantly more gets more swollen than the other.
Hmm.
That's because they had to remove all the lymph nodes in my leg. So
Yep.
it did have. it did have some ongoing effect, and I'm sure, and sure, certainly had ongoing effects to my kind of motivation and things like that too. So,
Mm.
um,
Well,
that's
of
that's
course. I
probably
mean,
some
you
of
have
the other
something carved
reasons.
out of you. You're definitely well
Yeah,
within your rights to
yeah,
feel a bit of a
and I
dip.
mean, it's pretty scary. And
Yeah.
really, until recently, there was always, I mean, there's always a chance to come back, but right now, things are good, and it's looking like I'm okay. I don't want
Mm.
to jinx anything,
No.
but but
No.
like for right now, things are as good with it as they can be. So I don't want people to worry about that either
Mm.
if they happen to be watching this. But
Yeah.
certainly, it was pretty serious, and I don't know if I made it seem. Sometimes I feel like I over exaggerated it, and then other times I'm like, well, no, it was pretty serious. I don't know, but
I mean,
it,
it
it
is, the C word. It's obviously got a lot of baggage with it, and I've lost family to cancer, so yeah,
yes,
no, it was definitely a yeah, it was definitely a moment for, like, I don't even know what possessed me to actually like push you to keep doing the like self reporting
yeah,
and things.
I
Like, I
was
feel like
I
a bit
know
of
I
a
was
jerk
keen to do
actually
that.
for sort of
Yeah. Ah,
making do that, but
I wanted to do it, and it really wasn't till later. And I think this is the thing. So, like, when it was all happening, I didn't really understand it that well
mm,
because it all happened very, very quickly in the initial period. And I think there's this thing where they actually don't explain it to you too well because they don't want to freak you out too much, and they don't want you to put
there's
off doing
certainly a
it.
there's
Like
certainly a burden of
they
knowledge. I
want,
think that doctors and physicians definitely keep to themselves.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
So I went into surgery, and I knew I was having surgery, and I wasn't sure how long that was going to take me out of commission, and it's like I say, it's still ongoing, not nearly the issue it was, but there's still issues that come from it even now. But
mm,
yeah, I don't think I realized how significant and how serious it was until a bit later on, and because I know other people that whose friends had melanoma that spread to their lymph nodes, and uh, yeah, they didn't make it. So it was actually a lot more serious than I think I even ever realized in the moment.
mm,
Because in the moment you're just dealing with it and you're just managing it and doing what you can. So I think, yeah, but
yeah.
I'm good now.
Yeah, well, no,
Um,
I'm very happy for that to be the case, obviously.
yeah,
Yeah, no, because but it does kind of remind me. I think the comment has since disappeared or been deleted, but the first comment we ever got on our first episode was someone basically going, "What the f," calling us calling us names and stuff, and then I think you replied with something positive, "Oh, we love our audience. Thanks, keep super," or something. And then this guy replied, "Absolute cancer." And then a few weeks later, or a few months later, rather, you clap back saying, "Oh, if you love cancer, you're going to love the next episode."
yeah,
It's just,
yeah.
mwah.
Usually I don't feed the trolls, but that was too good of an opportunity to not.
Yeah. Well, I know you
To
you
do it.
definitely you definitely earned that moment. So, um,
And
yeah, I
one of our comments, I just noticed that Andrew said, "Thank you for sharing the story." And I don't know. I don't think there's anything particularly special about it, and a lot of people have had. I think I don't know. It's a thing that unfortunately people have to deal with. But
mm,
it wasn't always an easy thing to work on, and I'm really glad that I made it now. I think it is an. I think it hopefully captures what that period of my life was like, and hopefully that's useful to someone. But watching it back for me, it was very strange. I haven't watched it since I made it, so it was watching it back this week was really strange. But
yeah, you
yeah,
wouldn't
hopefully,
really want to
I just
relive the
kind of hope
trauma
it's
of it.
useful to someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of my goal behind it. Is that maybe even if one person saw it and it was useful, or helped them somehow, or just yeah, gave someone an idea of what that is like. That was kind of all I wanted to achieve with that, really. Oh no, I mean, and some sweet, sweet content.
Mhm. For sure. Like
Uh,
we
yeah,
definitely have that going for us. Speaking of, I think it's time to finally sort of let on what we've been working on after Super Me.
yeah. So I think there have been some leaks. There has been some speculation.
Hmm.
Um, but so our new project is not Super Me related, but it is Brendan and Nick related. So hopefully that's still something you might be interested in. Um, we realized maybe too late. I think most people did this during the pandemic. That there was this real gap in the market for white guys in their 30s talking about movie podcasts. So
Oh,
we
definitely. Like
decided.
it's most certainly a very underrepresented quarter.
No, obviously we're joking, and there are a lot of those sorts of podcasts. Hopefully, what we're doing is something a little bit different, and that's what our goal was with this thing. I don't think we would have made it if we didn't have a way to hopefully put our own spin on it. So our podcast is called "That Movie You Like," the sequel, and in it we talk about movies that we like. Also, more recently, a movie that we didn't like so much, and then myself and Nick go away and spend some time working on a sequel idea, and then we pitch those ideas to each other and talk about them, and then also kind of open the floor to you guys. Uh, what what do you think? Did you like our ideas? Did you like? Did you dislike them? What would you change? Those kinds of things. So yeah, that's our podcast. That movie you like, the sequel, where we create sequels to movies that either didn't have them, the movies that maybe shouldn't have had them, in some cases as well. So and so far I'm loving it, and it's been so much fun, and it's just been fun to be working with Nick again on this stuff. So
Oh,
I'm having great time.
yeah. Oh well, I've just changed the background in the stream just so people can get an idea of what the aesthetic is. It's it's a lot more four corners than I remember.
And we'll be coming out in a week. We're going to start releasing some episodes. We're going to release the first two together, so you can really we give you that little taste. But hopefully, it's going to get you coming back again. You're
And
going
I
to be
think
able to
that's the
listen
thing
to it wherever.
because obviously superheroes are a big part of our a big part of our aesthetic. It's the movie we start with is what would Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 4 look like had Tobey Maguire stayed on? So
Yeah, and that was a lot of fun. And I feel like we came up with some. I think again, always biased with this stuff, and we're obviously promoting it, and we want you to come and listen to it. But I think we did it. I think it's really cool.
hmm.
I think we did some really cool stuff there. And you'll be able to listen to it like wherever you listen to any of the other podcasts that you listen to. So if you go on Spotify, even right now, if you go to Spotify and type that movie you like, the single, it will come up. There's just a little short trailer there at the moment, but next Saturday, at around about the time that these episodes have been premiering, you'll be able to start listening to it. So Spotify, Apple Music, Audible, um, Stitcher, wherever you listen to podcasts, it'll likely be there. And if it's not, we can, and you've got like a request, I'm sure we can get it up on there for you too.
Yeah. So just when
So,
you thought all the Facebook spamming was over, nope,
yeah,
there is more.
no. We're going to be hassling you from a brand new Facebook page now, which is facebook.com/TMYL2. And that's going to be a good spot just for the next week or so to kind of, until you get the hang of where to find us and all of those kinds of things, that's where we'll be posting all of that information.
Yep.
So if you're not on Facebook, though, we will have a website as well, which is tmyl2.wordpress.com. And if you head over there, there's nothing there quite yet, but once the episodes launch, that'll be another really good source of information. You'll be able to find things like show notes and our polls to vote on whose movie you liked better.
Oh yes, because
Um,
we're getting competitive, aren't we? We're going to be
yeah,
yeah
can I suggest
teeing off.
mine? If you get a vote, maybe just throw a vote my way.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I definitely need the sympathy votes and stuff. So
I think we both get a. There's both. I think for the most part that we've been pretty competitive. We've recorded at this point about 10 episodes, so there's a whole bunch. Like there's already more episodes of this show than there are Super Me episodes. So
yeah,
it's going to be coming out, and it's going to be hopefully regular at least until we catch up. So
yes.
there's gonna be plenty to listen to, plenty of movies to vote on, a lot of fun. Some of the other ones that we've done, I mean, I think we can spoil a couple of them.
We could,
People,
I wouldn't spoil too far into the future, but certainly
okay,
like our Christmas episodes, we can sort of allude to. I'm sure.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, we're going to be talking Gremlins for Christmas.
What would Gremlins
What
3
says
be? So,
Yeah. So what's his Gremlins more than Chris? What's his Christmas more than Gremlins? I don't know. Nothing. Maybe Iron Man 3. the two great Christmas movies, Iron Man 3 and Gremlins. So
I'm trying to remember
that's
other Shane Black movies. Was
yeah.
Lethal Weapon 3? Don't matter.
So yeah, there's going to be heaps of stuff. We're going to be posting about it. We'll throw some things up shortly.
And honestly,
But
if you guys are a fan of this, and understand to a degree how our brains work, we really really truly hope that you enjoy that movie you like, the sequel podcast,
yeah,
because
and I think that you will.
yeah,
I think if you like
odds are
Super
good.
Me, that you're going to enjoy this, and it's it's a lot more like this. It's us just chatting and having fun, but we also put a lot of work into some of these ideas. So
Yeah.
I think there's something there for everyone.
The good news is we can also edit out all the times we stop and go and I say or like and mm.
Yeah, we can make ourselves look like we know how to speak English. So
Can
that's
be
been a
quite
really
coherent.
positive side of editing. Um, but yeah, I think that's where I don't know. I don't really have much else to say except thanks people that actually took the time to watch our show. Like that's exciting and cool, and we appreciate it. And hopefully, you're going to follow us along to that movie you like sequel.
Yeah, and like to the people who actually recognize me in the street, like it happened I think 3 times. Thank you for being out there. You guys really made my day in those instances. It was just really nice to know that there were people out there that actually enjoyed our content, and that's really kind of the main reason we make this stuff in the first place is we want people to enjoy it. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that guy from JB Hi-Fi that was in Blood Brothers that talked to me about Super Me and had seen it. I appreciate that.
yeah.
I didn't
And the
know that you
lady in
did it
Bunnings asking when
before the
we
year.
going to bring out some more, and I felt really bad saying, "Oh, I've got an episode in the can," and that was like 3 years ago at least. So thank
Well,
you.
and I'm going to shout out Andrew as well, who is Andrew Moises, who's in our chat, or at least
Andrew's
I think
actually
he's
sitting
still
in the
there.
corner. Come over here, mate. I'm just
Oh,
going to
really?
break into my frame. Yeah.
Hello.
Oh,
Hello.
cool.
Sorry.
Awesome. I can't see you guys, but
No, that's okay. You can hear him at
it's
least.
Yes.
yeah. Welcome, man.
He just made the leap from like the corner there watching our live stream on his phone to being in the live stream. So he has ascended. This is a fan ascension.
I'm the president of the fan club.
Yeah. So
But you have
seek out
like you've
Andrew
been
if you're
very
wondering where the
supportive
next
person.
Super Me episodes are coming from.
Yeah.
And where the
Yeah, no,
bootleg
but you've
merchandise
always
is.
given us heaps of support, and there's been lots of people that have. So, but I wanted to especially shout you out, Andrew, because every time we release stuff, you're always there and you're always commenting it, and we appreciate it. And I want to say that.
And we've really got to get him your autograph as well. I think
Yeah,
he's
definitely. I
yeah.
should have signed something. I didn't know he was going to be there tonight. I could have signed something when I was there the other
I
day.
couldn't keep him away. Like it's again just one of these problems with my house. People just get in too easily. So
Maybe we can have Andrew on an episode of the podcast at some point, or
yeah,
and we can
if he'd be
actually meet
keen.
in person.
Yeah. No, is there a movie you like, Andrew?
All the movies you like.
All the movies I like. Okay, well that's easy then.
I'm sure we can come up with something. But yeah, definitely I will get that across.
Yeah.
I'll
Oh,
get a
and
signature.
again, just if she's watching, Tracy James, is it from
Oh yes,
off my
yep.
shelf, the podcast? Thank you for the shout out the other day. Really appreciate it.
Oh yes, definitely. One of my good friends and with a really good podcast. So definitely, we'll hopefully be doing some more stuff with her in the future too. So we've got lots and lots of things planned, and um, assuming no one gets a life-threatening illness in the next few weeks, all of this stuff is coming, and there's more and more on the way. So it's going to be super fun, and we're going to have a really good time. And so, yeah, I hope you guys will follow us across to
Should
that
we
movie like the sequel.
should we close out with just some of the ideas for more Super Me episodes that we are yet to make, or should we just leave that as a mysterious like, oh, maybe one day?
Yeah, I think we saved that one for a future one because there's a couple that I still want to do, and I'd like them to be a
You still
surprise.
want to lock me in a haunted house? I think that was one of them.
Oh yes, yes, definitely. That is what I still want to
Oh, goody! I look
do.
forward to that.
Cool. Well, I think I might need to call it because my son is quiet, so I just need to go make sure that he's asleep and not doing something
Untoward.
dastardly in the
Of
next
course.
room. And but again, thank you everyone for we've appreciated all the support. Follow us across to that movie like the sequel, and we'll see you there.
Lovely to have you all on board. Thank you.